All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome to the Get Appified 10 Found for You apps that will put 10 hours back in your week. My name is Amanda Rufo, and I will be your technical producer and moderator this evening. This webinar will be presented by Mary Engel. Our goal is for everyone to learn something that will win them back 10 hours a week. Before we start the presentation, let's take a moment to ensure that everyone is ready and familiar with the webinar control panel. On the right side of your screen, you will see the attendee control panel, and on the left is the webinar viewer window. This viewer window will display the presenter screen when the webinar begins. The control panel can be minimized or expanded by clicking on the horizontal double arrow button in the upper left corner. Minimizing the panel allows a better view of the presentation. Take a moment to practice. An important feature of the control panel is the questions pane. To submit a question, type it into the question box. These may be questions related to the presentation or technical questions related to the GoToWebinar system. You may also be asked by the presenter to type your ideas or responses here as a part of an exercise during the webinar. Please send a quick note now in your questions pane. Questions may be submitted at any time. These will be monitored, and we will try to respond quickly if we see something that shouldn't wait until the question and answer period. During the webinar, you will be asked to respond to a polling question or survey. Please take the time to participate as your input and ideas are valuable to the group. If you need to step away for a moment, do not close the GoToWebinar window, as you will be required to log in again if you wish to rejoin the session. If you experience problems with the audio, one possible solution is to use the conference call number and listen to the presentation using your phone. Click the Use Telephone option in the audio pane of your control panel to view the conference call number. This webinar is being recorded, and the online archive will be available to view on the CAPA website in approximately 2 weeks. And now I'd like to hand the virtual microphone over to Mary.
Good evening, everyone. It's Mary Lagakis Engel here, and I am super excited to be sharing with you the 10 apps that I use that help me save 10 hours a week, and I am hoping that they are going to serve you just as well. So we are going to dive right in here. We're going to make this somewhat interactive, and I would encourage you to feel free to ask questions as we go, and any that I think will be suitable sort of towards the end of the webinar we'll handle at the end. So let's dive right in. Get Appified. We are focused on apps to win back time. So why are we doing that? Well, apps are really, really easy to find and really easy to use. And they have developed into this massive market that is really conducive to us saving time. Apps work faster than the web. They are designed to be easier to use than the web. They're easier to navigate. They're less complex. They're designed for fast application, which makes them really awesome when you're trying to create productivity in your day and in your life. So what we're going to cover in this webinar are the things listed here. We're going to talk about how to search for productivity apps. We're going to talk about where to search for them, what to search for, because truly the app market changes every day, and year over year the apps change. So it's really important for you to understand the process around apps, not just the current apps that are popular, that are useful right now. So we're going to figure out how to find them, and then I'm actually going to share with you 10 apps that will put 10 hours back into your week, and then we'll have time at the end for Q&A so that we can answer all your questions as well. So just a quick question here. I am wondering how many of you, if you are using the GoToMeeting app on your phone right now, go ahead and type into the question window just a note to say, I am using GoToMeeting app, or I am not using GoToMeeting app, I'm on the web right now. And then Amanda, if you could just tell us what we get in that box and let us know, what are people using? Let us know if you're using the web or if you're using the app for GoToMeeting?
Okay, we have a few responses coming in, and looks like everybody's on the web so far that's responded.
Everybody's on the web. That's pretty normal, pretty usual. GoToMeetings app is fantastic. If I wasn't presenting right now, I would be on that app watching this webinar. And it is so fantastic because it is almost like being on your laptop, but you can carry it around with you anywhere. So if you were on your commute home, if you were sitting at a bus stop, you could access this webinar just with your GoToMeeting app. Saves you time. So you're no longer taking time out of your evening, you are getting places going around. So these are the kinds of uses of apps that we're looking for, ways that we can save time. All right, so let's keep going. We would like to know what device you are using. So Amanda's going to help us here do a little poll. And what we want to know from you is whether you are using an iPhone, an iPad, a Samsung phone, a BlackBerry, or some other Android phone. So Amanda, do you want to just give the group some instructions on how to tell us their information so we can see what our audience is made up of?
Sure. So we have the poll up in front of you right now, and we already have quite a few of you sending in your votes. So please continue to do that. Go ahead and pick one of the 5 choices that we have there. And we're going to close the poll in just a few seconds. Okay. Looks like we're almost got everybody in. Thank you. So our results, 78% are using an iPhone and 22% iPad.
Awesome. So we are all pretty much on iPhones and iPads. There's no other devices happening in our audience?
We also have another user who's using an Android.
All right, cool. That's awesome. So the apps that I'm going to show you in this webinar are mostly available on all those devices, iPhone, iPad, BlackBerry, Android. And so we're going to go through and I'm going to show you where to find them as well. So thank you for sharing that, everybody. Let's keep going. If you could gain back 1 hour in your day, what would you spend it on? So we are focused on productivity apps. These are apps that will put hours back in your week. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of apps that will do that, but there are equally as many apps, if not more, that will suck hours away from your week. So think about games like Angry Birds or Solitaire or any of the games that are on your iPhone, your social media apps. These are things that will suck up your time. And right now we are going to focus on gaining back that time using other apps. And what I want you to see here on the screen is that there are 8 avenues of fulfillment in life, which means that there are 8 avenues of organization. And this diagram here basically tells you what those 8 avenues are. There are 8 avenues of organization. If you were to look at your life, you could split it into career, your physical environment, so your health, your wellness, your social environment, the leadership in the community that you pursue, your friendships, your involvement in Kappa Kappa Gamma, these all fall under social environment, your mental area, which is all around knowledge and education and challenging your mind, your financial area around your savings and earnings, your environmental area, anything that belongs to you, your home, your space, your physical belongings, your familial area, your relationships with your parents, siblings, and significant other, and your spiritual area, anything having to do with your passions, your heart, your religion, anything of that sort. And what we want to do when we're looking for productivity is identify the area of our life where we have the least amount of organization or the highest amount of chaos. And so we're going to make this a little interactive here. What I want you to do is I want you to take a moment and think about these 8 areas of your life and identify the one in which you have the least amount of organization. So in which area do you have the most chaos? And I want you to go ahead and type it into the question box. And Amanda, just take a look there and give us an idea of where people are feeling the most pain in terms of productivity and chaos and disorganization.
Okay, so right off the bat, financials coming up, but we still have some more answers that are coming in.
Cool. And we have an app for that. So stay tuned there, financial wizard. We are going to show you something that could help.
Spiritual and career is also coming up.
Great. Any other ones for us?
Environmental.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's keep going. So this is how I want you to start your search for apps. I want you to figure out where you have disorganization, and then you're going to figure out how to appify it to make it easier. So I'm going to give you an example right now. I am a horrible cook. My area of least organization is physical environment, and I don't like cooking. I can't cook very well, and exercise and I sometimes get along, sometimes we don't. But obviously, I have to eat, and I have to eat healthy. And my husband, who is a pretty amazing cook, isn't always around, so I got to feed myself. I got to feed our kids, and this app has saved me. So I'm going to quickly switch over here to Google Chrome. I'm going to show you where you find this one. I'm giving you the example in the Google Play Store. And Google Play is where you're going to find your Android apps. So I've gone here to show you the Big Oven page. So Big Oven is a repository of recipes where you can find recipes, you can upload your own recipes, and you can even find recipes, scan them in with your camera, and then somebody on the other end will actually type up that recipe and load it into your app for you. And then what you could do is you have this massive repository of recipes. You can select your favorites. You can select the ones you want to try soon. You can select the ones that you've already tried. And you can create menu plans out of it. Once you have your menu plan, or even if you just select one recipe that you want to cook for the week, it will automatically create your grocery list for you just based on the ingredients in that recipe. The other thing it will do is you can actually find a recipe online, and I don't know if you can see it here on my screen. I have a button in my web browser that says Add to Big Oven. If I go online, find a recipe, I can click on this button here, and it will add the recipe via the web interface. So Big Oven is not only an app for your iPhone or Android that you can use on that device, but they also have a web interface that allows you to navigate between the two. So this app has literally saved me hours a week. So if you think about it, every week to decide and shop for a week's worth of food, to do it manually, you might end up going to the grocery store every day or every couple of days. You might have to spend time thinking about, what do I want to eat this week? Do I have the ingredients? I got to write it down in a list. I've got to ask the family. I'm going to do that every couple of days. So it adds up to a good 3 to 6 hours if you're doing it manually. And when you get an app like this, you can cut it down to 30 minutes. You literally are cutting it down to 30 minutes of planning time, and then whatever time it takes you to shop, and you can shop for the whole week. So this app would probably, I would say, save me a couple of hours a week, and it's fantastic. This is one that you would normally pay for. A lot of the apps that I'm going to show you are free, but if your area of least organization is really that disorganized, you may be willing to go ahead and pay for it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So that is the first of the 10 apps that I wanted to share with you. It is the Big Oven. So let's keep going. Where to search for apps. Here's how I do it. Here's how I go ahead and search for apps on the internet or on my iPhone. First, I go to the Google searches and I look for product reviews or best of lists. So let's say you are a mom with kids and you want to organize their schedules better. You might go to Google and type in best apps for moms with kids. And then you'll get probably a review or a series of reviews that you can look up, and it will give you kind of the top apps that that particular reviewer has found. So this is a great way to start your search if you really kind of out there just searching for something specific. The next place you're going to look is your device's app store. So with iTunes, it's the iTunes App Store. You all know where that is. In BlackBerry, it's the App World. In Google and for Android, it's called Google Play. That's a new name for Google Play. That's where you're going to find all your Android apps. And of course, you can always ask friends. And some of the apps that I'm going to share with you today, I found because I asked a Kappa friend who said, you need to try these apps. So these are really key. And I'm just going to quickly show you kind of what these stores look like. So here's your BlackBerry app world. It's going to have trending apps and games, all the more popular ones, and it's going to show their ratings, which is really important. We'll talk about that in a second. And that's just going to go through and show you all those. You can also go to the iTunes App Store. Again, it's going to have best new apps based on their editorials. It's going to have the ratings for them as well. These are all the places to start looking if you're trying to find a new app. All right. Let's move on. What you're going to search for. You are going to search keywords related to what you want. You can, for example, search for productivity apps. However, that will bring up several 100,000 different possibilities. So what you want to do is try to get somewhat specific. Look at your 8 areas of organization or disorganization and get specific about what you want. Do you want a calorie counter? Do you want an ebook reader? Do you want a file storage solution? These are the things that you want to look for. And again, you can look for best of lists, or you can go straight to the app stores. I recommend starting with the best of lists because you've already got somebody there who's been narrowing down the ocean of possibilities into a nice small little bucket that you can play with. So if you can imagine going, you're at the beach and you're trying to kind of find a fish in this massive ocean, it's going to be really hard to do. But if you grab a bucket of water and there happens to be some fish in it, then it's going to be a lot easier to find the fish that you want. So go to the best of lists first. Now, there's a couple of things that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're looking at the apps. So once you've done the reviews, you're going to go to the App Store, and there's 2 things specifically that you're going to look up. Number 1, you're going to look at the reviews. How many stars has this app gotten? And I also want you to be mindful of the version that you're looking at. So the app stores, app developers will publish new versions of their apps that will reset it'll reset the reviews score. So when you're looking at it, you basically want to look at what are the reviews for the current version, and then what are the reviews for the past version. You want to see how many people have reviewed it, because the higher the number, the more credible and the more reliable the information. And you also want to look at the year that it was last updated. Apps are renewing all the time. 63% of apps that are used daily today are completely different than the apps that were used a year ago. So what you want to make sure you're doing is looking at when was the last release of this app? When was it last updated? You don't want a stale app. All right, you're going to search for those. You're going to look at the reviews. You're going to look at the year of the last update. And what you're going to do is narrow it down to 2 or 3 different apps that you're willing to try out for a week. And this is exactly how I went about finding my to-do list app. I literally downloaded 5 different to-do apps and tried them all out for a few weeks and narrowed it down to the one that did the job for me. And then you just get rid of the ones that you don't like. So I'm going to get into some of those apps now that I have, and I want you to just be aware that these are my favorite apps. They won't be for everybody, and that's why I wanted to show you how to search for them and what to look for, because you're going to need to find the collection of apps that are most useful, most helpful to you based on your areas of disorganization. So this is my list based on how I've organized my life. And you're going to have to figure out your own collection as well. But hopefully some of these apps will be absolutely beneficial to you as well. So here we go. App number 2 that I'm sharing with you is Evernote. Evernote is a general organization app. It is one of the more popular apps on the market today. And it is essentially document organization at your fingertips. And they've also expanded it recently to have a to-do element. You can store photos here. People make they make photo albums in Evernote. They make recipe books in Evernote and catalogs. They file their documents in Evernote, and it's basically searchable by tags. So instead of having kind of a traditional filing system like you would be used to on a regular laptop or notebook, this is a new form of filing all of the stuff that you do both in work and in life in one spot, where it's generally going to be easy to navigate and find things. As long as you can keep track of your tags, this is going to be an interesting app for you to have. It also syncs between your mobile device and your computer, so that everything shows up in both places and you can access them that way. Now, I mentioned that this also has a to-do component in it, or what would also be called as a task list. I actually use a different app for task lists, and it's called To Do Pro. It's designed to be able to manage projects and checklists as well as individual tasks. And you basically can go in there and identify timelines, deadlines, share it with people, email your lists to people. So it's a pretty useful app. But I wanted to just show you Evernote because it is one of the more popular ones. And if you look, what I'm going to show you here about Evernote is something really interesting. This is Evernote in the iTunes App Store. And here are the different kinds of interfaces that you're going to see, the different screens that you'll see in Evernote. It is a very complicated app for beginners. But what I want you to notice is the customer ratings right here. So it is a really popular app. 12,000 ratings is a high number of people to be rating. Over all versions, they gave it 4 stars. The most recent release, though, has 41 ratings so far, And those 41 ratings are only giving it 3 stars, which means something in the most recent release has made this app less desirable. So that is something that you want to watch for. Although it is an app that the people who follow it swear by it and love it, and they have their entire lives organized around it, it looks like the recent version is causing some people some grief. So if you wanted a different kind of app, I will actually show you the one I use. I use To Do Pro, and this, I'm just going to bring up my screen here. I'll leave it up for just a second so that you can kind of see how it's organized. Here are my to-do lists, and here are the things that I've got on my plate for the next few hours, it looks like today. All right, so those are the to-do app. And then what I do in terms of file organization is I use Dropbox. Dropbox is a filing system, more traditional, and what it allows you to do is save documents traditionally on your desktop, and then it gives you this lovely little box up here that allows you to access new files that are loaded, and then you can also access it through your regular filing system where you can go to your Dropbox and it'll have all your folders there. And it will sync between your phone, it'll sync from your phone, your iPad, your computer, anybody else's computer because you can access it via the web interface, and it allows you to access all of your documents on the go. So the biggest use for me with Dropbox is if I am sitting on the commuter train and a client has asked me to send them a specific document that they need in the next 5 minutes, I can quickly go into Dropbox and find the file, click on one button, say send via email, type in the person's name, and now they've got the file that they need. I don't have to wait until I get home, sit in front of my laptop, and it just saves you a ton of time that way. Evernote has that capability as well. It's just a more holistic, it kind of covers everything in your life all in one spot, which also I think makes it a little bit complicated. There are lots of other productivity apps out there. Another one that's gotten good reviews is called Workflowy, WORKFLOWY. It's a task and to-do list management app. I haven't tried it yet because I'm pretty attached to to-do still. All right. Next, Mint. So my person who is financially disorganized, this is the one for you. Mint is an app that could easily save me like an hour a week in searching for and logging in and logging out of bank websites to try and gather my balances, because I bank with 6 different banks, and Mint allows me to see all of my bank accounts all in one spot. Credit cards, assets, debts, anything that you need to see can be saved in Mint. So I'll give you a quick glimpse of Mint here in the Google Play Store. Mint Personal Finance. Notice here it is developed by Intuit Inc. And if you're familiar with accounting software, Intuit is one of the most credible, most well-known software developers on the market, which means that this app is also credible. So if you're worried about putting all of your financial information in one place, this is most likely the app that's going to cause you the least amount of worry. You're going to see here 72,000 people have reviewed it in Google Play. It's gotten over 4 stars, which is really amazing. And then down here you see the windows. This will keep track of your spending habits. It'll show you spending by category. It will allow you to create budgets. And it shows you, sorry, let me go back one spot here. It shows you all of your balances in one spot for all of your bank accounts, which is really, really awesome. When I found this app, this was one that was referred to me by my Kappa friend. I just about rolled over because it was so amazing. And when you've got it on your phone, there is a simple 4-digit password that you key in, and then it pulls up the screen, and all of a sudden you've got everything that you need. The other thing about Mint is it's got this handy little web app for your laptop or for your computer where you can log in here and you can see all of your accounts, track your budgets, and it's all safe and secure, so you can access it really easily without even logging into the website. So this app is really awesome. It's good in the US and in Canada. And another little feature that it has that I love is that it will alert me if my bank balance goes under a certain amount. So if you are at all disorganized with your bank balances and you are ever worried about having insufficient funds, this app will send you an email based on the amount that you set. So I've got it set that whenever my checking account goes below $500, I know that I need to go in and deposit more money. So this app easily saves me about an hour a week. Pretty awesome. All right, next. Mental organization. If you are a reader and you are still reading paperback or hard copy books, this could save you some time. It will also save you space, which will save you energy and efficiency. So you find your books quickly, you buy your books quickly, and it takes up less space so that, you know, what happens with people who have libraries and libraries of books is you've got to dust them, you've got to pack them up and move them around, you've got to give them away to friends. What the Kindle store and the iBooks app do is just pull it all into one place so that you can read efficiently, have more space in your purse, and it just really saves you time. You don't have to go out to buy things. It's just going to save you a whole lot of time, and it's really not that different from having a physical book. A lot of people think that they need to have the physical book and that it's really important. They like to see the cover. I don't know what all the excuses are. I was that way too a few years ago before I got my Kindle, and I tell you, I am converted. So if you are experiencing any resistance to this, you do not need to. You can go ahead and try this out. Just try it on one book and see what it does for you. And hey, if you don't like it, go back. If you want to give it another try on a second book, you can certainly do that. All right. This next one I'm really excited about because when I found this, I literally shaved, I think, another hour to 2 out of my week every few weeks. Contact readers and card readers. These are awesome, and if you are at all disorganized in the area of career, these are going to help you. So let's start with, we are going to start with looking at CardMunch. CardMunch is a business card reader put out there by LinkedIn. And essentially what you do is if you have CardMunch on your phone, you're going to take a screenshot. It looks exactly like this. You're going to take a screenshot of the card. You're going to submit it. It's going to go off to some far part of the world. They're going to type it up, and it's going to show up back in your CardMunch app where you can open it, save it to your iPhone or your Android, and it will also link to the person's LinkedIn account, which is really awesome, and it saves so much typing time. So it's literally just point, shoot, and then save. You'll see here, current version, 529 ratings, 4 stars, 555 ratings, all versions, 4 stars. It's pretty awesome. You know, it's not a 5-star app. I think probably because the notification aspect of it isn't terribly great. You actually have to go back into the app to see if there are cards waiting for you, and then you can save them to your iPhone. If it was more automated like that, it might get some higher points, but it's still pretty useful. My more favorite apps would be for BlackBerry or Outlook users, Gwabit. Gwabit will search the signature lines of any emails coming through to your Outlook inbox or through your BlackBerry, and it will grab the signature line and enter that information directly into your address book. So you no longer have to worry that your address book is out of date. This will grab the information. It will locate if you've already got that contact info in your contact list. It will locate it. It will check to see if the fields match, and if they don't, it will update it with the new information. Really awesome. Gwabit is what I had when I was using BlackBerry. When I stopped using BlackBerry, I was so beside myself because I couldn't find anything equivalent on the iPhone until I came across EverContact. EverContact will do the same thing, but it does it for Google Contacts. It also does it for Outlook, and it does it for some other apps like Salesforce.com, et cetera, et cetera. So EverContact will again search your signature lines and automatically move that information into your Google Contacts. I use Google for my business, and this app is amazing. It saves so much time. I no longer have to search for information when I'm, running late for a meeting and I need to reach somebody. Their up-to-date contact information is already in my phone. Pretty amazing, this one. Okay. The next one is OpenTable. If you are disorganized in your social environment, OpenTable is going to help you out in terms of finding a restaurant to eat at. Now you might not think of this as a productivity app, but it does save you time. So I don't know how many of you have sat with your friends or your family contemplating, where are we going to eat, what do we feel like, and then you call the restaurant 30 minutes later after you've contemplated it for 30 minutes, and it turns out that there is no reservations available. So now you've got to contemplate for another 30 minutes. Where are we going to go? What do we feel like eating? Meantime, your buddies are pulling out the nachos and the dip, taking matters into their own hands. And OpenTable will help you avoid all of that. It will show you all the restaurants nearby that have reservations at the time that you want, and it has awesome restaurants in it. It goes out and it picks the trendiest, most wonderful restaurants in addition to every other restaurant in your neighborhood. It is one of the most utilized apps on the market, and all the restaurants want to be on it because it manages their reservations for them. The other thing it does, and here it is in the Google Play Store, is that it earns you points, so that as you collect points, you also get coupons to any of the OpenTable restaurants. So I think right now I've accumulated about $26 off of any restaurant that I can book through OpenTable. So it's pretty fantastic, and it's all over the world. You can find restaurants right in your own backyard, or if you're going traveling, you can find them while you're on vacation. Pretty amazing. Easily will save you an hour's worth of debate and conflict with your friends. There are some other apps that I could share with you around social organization. For example, Eventbrite or Passbook. So if you like to go see shows or you like to go to the theater, Eventbrite, Eventbrite, or Passbook will hold your tickets in there for you. I had a great example a couple of weeks ago. My husband and I and our friends went to Oktoberfest up here just outside of Toronto, and one of our friends forgot his tickets at home, didn't realize that he had the tickets. He thought our other friend had his tickets, and it turned out he forgot his tickets at home. And of course, our friend Paul, who originally bought the ticket, said, "There's an app for that." And he pulled out his phone and opened up Eventbrite, and there they were. The tickets were already loaded on his phone. All they had to do was show that at the front door, and they were able to get in. So these are things that will truly save you in terms of productivity, not having to drive around and find your way back into the event. All right, we are going to do something kind of special now. We are going to explore a viewer's choice app. So I would like each of you to think about your favorite productivity app that you currently have on your phone, anything that you think helps you save time. And I want you to go ahead and type it into the question box. And we are going to show everybody else on the call. We're going to pick one out of the list, and we're going to show everybody else on the call where to find it, what to look for, and how to decide if this is an app for them. So go ahead, and Amanda, if you could read them off, and then I will just select one randomly from the list.
Okay, great. As we're waiting, could we take a few questions? We have a few questions that have come in.
Sure, that's
Okay.
great.
One is from Ellen. Can you export my recipes from Big Oven so I can keep them on a DVD?
Big Oven will allow you to email recipes. I have not actually tried exporting it yet, so I am actually not sure if it has that functionality, because I tend to just I tend to use my iPhone and my laptop for everything. Carrying around DVDs and CDs for me is more inefficient than keeping it all on essentially it's in the cloud, right? So I don't know if they'll allow you to export it. Generally, they keep it in the cloud. They are also highly sensitive to copyright rules. So when you import a recipe from the web or from a recipe book, they really do stress that you maintain copyright dignity of that recipe. So, so I'm not sure that they will allow you to export it to a DVD.
Okay, and then the other question we have is from Amelia. Do you know if Evernote is secure, and do others have access to your possibly sensitive information?
My understanding with Evernote is that it is as secure as any other web device can be. Might be worth checking a little closer to see exactly how they keep that secure. But I have never, given how big Evernote is and how many users they have, I have never heard of any lawsuits or any privacy infringements for Evernote. So I don't know that anybody has hacked it, though you could do the research, right? It's a Google search away to find out whether there have been any Evernote breaches of security, for example. So we could just go in there and see if and just see what the security notes are around that. Right, so here's one where they're talking about, in their own news releases, blocking suspicious activity on the Evernote network. They've had to reset 50 million passwords after a security breach, which saw hackers steal usernames. So they have, it sounds like they have a pretty strong security watchdog over it, but because they are so popular and so highly used, they're probably going to be a bigger target, but probably no bigger than any bank or than any retail store that saves password or credit card information online. These things happen all the time, so if you're going to be worried about the security of your information, it's going to be no different than anywhere else that you've got your information stored, most likely. But you know, I would do some investigation if you're going to store highly sensitive information on there.
Okay, we have some apps that have come in. So we have Waze, Keyring,
What's it called?
Waze,
Waze.
WAZE,
Okay.
Keyring,
Mm-hmm.
Home Decorator, and Point, POYNT.
Yep. Yeah, these are awesome. I actually have a couple of those. I have Point and I have Keyring. Those are great. I'm going to include Keyring as one of the special apps, the bonus apps that I'm going to send you after the webinar. Point is a good Point is a great app for okay, let's do Point. So you can find Point via their website, and this is how you're going to generally find any of your apps. So like I said, we're going to first go to Google and we're going to type in the app, and you're going to see on the first page you're going to always get the website of the app itself. You're going to see whether it's on the iTunes store, and you're going to see its rating. You're going to see if it's in Google Play, and you're going to see its rating. And then you're going to find all of the other information. It's also on BlackBerry App World, and then you'll see what other information comes up around it. So let's go look at it on the iTunes Store. So the very next thing I'm going to look at is what version are we on and when was the last update. Updated September 7th, 2013. So we know that it's an app that's being updated regularly. Rid of this. We know that it gets really great reviews, and in fact the current version is getting higher reviews than the average of all versions, which is awesome. And this is essentially what it has. So Point allows you to look up businesses, look up people's numbers. So it's got your yellow pages, your white pages. You can locate movies in your area. You can locate restaurants in your area. You can get gas prices and gas locations near you, any events that are going on, weather, and the background of the app is kind of cool because it changes based on the weather and based on the time of day. So if it's nighttime, it'll be a dark background to the app, which is kind of cool. And then, you know, this one is showing here how you might find restaurants nearby, and then of course you can get a map to point you towards how to get to that restaurant, which is really cool. If you have some of the other apps like OpenTable, you could actually go in and make the reservation for the restaurant. If you had, I don't know what your main movie, I'm trying to think of the movie theaters. So up here near Toronto, we have Cineplex Odeon. If you found a movie over here, you could go online and buy the movie tickets through Point, or you could open up your app for your movie store, your movie cinema, and buy the tickets on there, depending on what you found nearby. So Point is a really cool app. I am curious about Waze, because I've never heard of this one before. Free GPS navigation with turn by turn. Cool. So it's showing me the website, and I'm just going to scroll down here to see where else I can find it. I can see that it's available for Android, 4.5 stars, and for iTunes from Apple, 4.5 stars. So why don't we go in and take a look? So we can see here that it was updated very recently, November 6th. And the customer ratings, lots for the current version, 5 stars, and lots of ratings overall, 6,000 users at least, which makes it pretty credible in my mind. And now we have the GPS. Wow, that looks really cool. I may have to download this one and give it a try. This is awesome. It looks a lot more fun than the Apple's iPhone Maps app or the iPad Maps app, certainly. I love the little characters on it. So that's really neat. Thank you for sharing that one. Okay, so that is essentially how I would go about looking up and assessing an app. The other thing that you could do is you could take this recommendation and then you could do a Google search for other similar apps and download 3 or 4 and see which one works best for you. Excuse me. Take a quick sip of water and let's carry on. So thank you guys, that was cool. Thanks for sharing those. Now, the other thing that you can do, obviously, if you wanted to just take everybody's word for it, is go straight to your phone and download those apps right now and try them out for yourself. All right. So I mentioned in my email that we had some surprises tonight, and I wanted to, because I love doing these webinars so much and because I love the people who attend them so much, I wanted to do something kind of special tonight and show you my appreciation for you taking time out of your night to come online and to learn about these apps and to take steps to find more time in your life and find the area of least organization where you could really do more with your time. So what I wanted to do for you tonight is make available for the first 3 people to email me a free Make Your Mark coaching session, which is a 30-minute coaching session totally free to the first 3 people to email me. And just so you know what that involves, what I do is I help you uncover any blocks, subconscious or conscious blocks, that are stopping you from what you want, stopping you from getting you what you want, and I'll tell you exactly the areas you need to focus on to get closer to what you want faster. So if it's your job, if it's your relationships, you want to make more money, you want to be better rewarded, you want to eliminate frustration, you want to have better relationships at work or at home. These are the kinds of things we start to uncover in this free session. And by the end of it, you will know exactly what you need to do to get started in creating more organization, more order out of chaos in whichever area of your life you're looking to do that for. So normally this session that I'm offering for free tonight, I'm opening up 3 slots next week for people to join me. I normally do this for about $375 a session, but for the first 3 people, I want to make sure that I offered something really valuable to you guys tonight so that you could do more with the information that I'm sharing with you. So if there is an area of disorganization, we are literally going to zap it in this 30-minute session. And if you are not one of the first 3 people to email me to take up one of these 3 spots, then don't worry. I also have something for everybody. And what I'm going to do is, because this was a really limited amount of time and I couldn't share all my Get Appified secrets in this short amount of time, what I'm going to do after this webinar is I'm going to set everybody up with a series of emails where I'm going to share with you additional tips and tricks and apps that are going to help you get more organization in the areas of disorganization that you shared with me today. So it's basically a special email training series where you're going to get the 5 bonus apps that I wanted to share with you. It's going to talk to you more about when you should spend money, when you shouldn't spend money on apps. It's going to talk about how to organize your apps on your phone so that they are as efficient as can be, and other free pieces of information that are going to help you be more productive in your week so that you can find the 10 hours a week that you want to spend more productively. So I wanted to do that for you guys. I have one more app to share with you in the last 5 minutes, then we'll also take some additional questions. And in the meantime, if you want one of those 3 free Make Your Mark coaching sessions, please go ahead and email me, and I will set those up for the first 3 people to email me. All right. We are going to move on now to the final app, which is called Eternity Time Log. If you are completely out of balance and overwhelmed in your life, this app is going to help you find those extra few hours every day that will bring you back into balance. There is one really important thing you need to know about being productive. You do the things that you and only you are uniquely qualified to do, and you delegate everything else. I'm going to say that again. You do the things that you and only you are uniquely qualified to do, and you delegate everything else. What this app allows you to do is a 1-week time study. And this is how that works. You are going to download the app. It's called Eternity Time Log. You're going to download it. And in the time log, you can create categories or activities. So you're going to create an activity for each of the 8 avenues of fulfillment, although the free app, I believe, limits you to about 7. So you'll pick 7 out of the 8 avenues of fulfillment. And you are going to start timing every activity that you do in each of those categories. And you're going to time it for a week. So every time you start an activity, every time you stop an activity, you're going to take note of it. Whether you're eating, exercising, eating breakfast, doing work, you can subdivide things at work, especially into things like admin work, sales work, teaching work, housework, homework, whatever. You're going to split up your activities and time yourself on each one. And at the end of the week, this app allows you to pull up a report that shows you exactly how you're spending your time and whether that time was worth it. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at how you spend your time, you're going to pull up the report, and you're going to put a value on each category and subcategory. You're going to ask yourself, how much is that activity worth to me? So for example, when I did this, I looked at housework. And housework to me was, could take 3 or 4 hours a week. And if I wanted to place a value on it, I would place a value of how much would I pay a cleaning service to clean my house for those 3 or 4 hours a week. And around here, it's about $20 an hour. So the value of that time is $20 an hour. But when I do coaching work, and if I'm doing sales work around coaching, that time is more valuable to me. So if I spend 1 hour doing sales calls, for example, and I land a $5,000 business client, then that 1 hour is valued at $5,000 as opposed to the $20 that it would have been had I been washing dishes. So you got to look at which one brings you more value and place your emphasis there and delegate the rest. So I now have a cleaning service that comes in every week for 4 hours, which allows me to spend that time doing higher value work that I'm more passionate about, and that earns me higher value. So for example, let's say you have young kids and you want to spend 1 hour with them. Well, it's priceless, right? It's priceless to spend that hour with your young kids. Well, what would you rather be doing? Would you rather be cleaning at $20 an hour, or would you have kid time at priceless dollars an hour? So that's what this app allows you to do. And you can actually download a time study from my website that will kind of walk you through in a more manual way what this does. If you go to www.themanagementcoach.com/free training opt-in. So if you just go there and you click on the tab at the top around free resources, in there you'll find the time study. And this study will easily find you 5 to 10 hours of higher value time in your week. So I've shared with you 10 apps on this call. The 10 hours can certainly come from any one of the apps or any combination of the apps. But if you really want to make a dent in your productivity and really appify yourself, this time log, 1 week worth of time study, this time log will find you all of those 10 hours in one shot. So I highly recommend that. It's something that I do with my coaching clients. It's something I would encourage you to do so that you can find that extra time. All right, so we are going to wrap things up here. Or if there are any lingering questions, Amanda, do you want to just let me know? And if you need to go, that's totally okay. I'm just going to ask to see if there are any lingering questions that we can answer in the next 5 minutes or so. You're welcome to stay.
I don't have any questions right now that are, maybe we'll give it a few moments to see if anybody sends in a question.
Okay. If you do have a question, go ahead and type it in the box. How's it looking there, Amanda? Anything coming in?
Nothing coming in.
That's fine. We will wrap it up. So here are the things that we learned on this webinar. We learned that apps are always changing and shifting. 63% of apps today did not have space in your mind a year ago. It has completely shifted. So you need to learn the process, not the specific app. You need to be constantly looking for new apps. You need to be looking at your 8 avenues of fulfillment to see where you can benefit from more organization. That's got to guide your decision making on where you want to find efficiency. And you want to be experimenting. You want to try out different apps. You want to download a few at a time and work with them until you find your favorites, and then organize your favorites so that they're useful to you. So that is it for today. I was so happy to have you all here to be able to share all these apps with you. And it is not over. I will be emailing each of you your free bonus material so that you can learn a few extra things that I wasn't able to share with you on this call. I think you're going to find them really useful. I appreciate your time, everybody, and have a great night and a great rest of your week.
Thank you to our presenter, Mary, for leading the session, and thank you for your participation tonight. If you have any questions or comment about today's topic, you may email Mary directly at mary@themanagementcoach.com. If you would like to be more involved in CAPA's virtual training and webinar programs, we would love to have you join our producer team. Please contact Karen Holmes at KKG headquarters for details. The benefits are excellent. The opportunity to support CAPA's webinar training program and a front row seat to a great presentation. As we close the webinar, a survey will open on your screen. You will be prompted to respond to a few evaluation questions. Please take a moment to share your thoughts on tonight's webinar. Your feedback will help us shape future webinar training events. If you have any additional questions or comments whatsoever, please send an email to Karen Holmes, kholmes@kkg.org. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.